Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, words of the said God. So we are calling upon the 14 gods of Genesis. The said God, the set God, the saw God. I am doing the S's. So it's the 3 S's, which reminds me of I think and grow rich, which is silence, stillness, and solitude. So I hope I've got the book right, but I remember the 3 S's anyway. So perhaps that's what the said God and the saw God and the said God, the saw God. Okay, I've missed the other one. The said God, the saw God. Oh my, I'm gonna have to look on my board. Yes. And the set God, of course, the set God, which is number 8. I mean the 8 as the value. Okay, so the 3 S's. I intended to do something else, but let's see the S gods. And it's really about going with the flow, because this feels quite flowy like the S itself. So we have the 3 S's of the gods. We also have okay, I'm going to get onto the other gods, but let's just do this 3 S's, and we'll put a new spin on this silence, stillness, solitude, which I think I'm always in this phase, particularly the solitude one anyway. Of course, you may not think I'm silent at all, but I go in my solitude state. So the said God, which is Mother Eve, SAID, equals 6. I'm just trying to see how they come together. And the said God, of course, the said God, the saw God is 7, SAW is 7, and the set God, oh, there is something happening here actually. And the set God, I may have done this before, but it's coming up pretty nicely. Now, this is the thing about synchronicity, and you have seen how I've just done this. So I really had not planned this at all. My idea was to look at the 14 gods and really calling out the 14 gods into the presentations and really bringing them forth. But this is what is amazing. And I have decided, well, I thought just for memory, just to memorize or how I deliver them. So I thought I would just do the S's, which had been a little bit of a challenge remembering the S's, or I always seem to, as you have seen, miss one out. So I'm going to rephrase that. I have always wanted to get all of them together, and that's me trying to program my mind. And I have just decided to write this down in this order, and then we have a perfect order as well how we have been taught to count. 6, 7, 8. Now that's amazing. Okay, so that means that's 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. So of course the 3 gods equal 3 coming together. So the 3 gods with the S's, the S is where Mother Eve is really present. Now that 3 also coincides with the first letter of Mother Eve. And I say letter, it seems like a whole letter that you would write to someone. But the letter, of course, we know is letters. In her first spell, which is the first letter L, her first word is actually let, which consists of 3 letters. But the first letter here equals 3. So we can see the magic of Mother Eve is really coming into being right here. Now that is synchronicity. That is flow. This is really how Mother Eve is wanting to convey her message to each and every one of us individually and of course collectively. But it's really the evidence of flow, the evidence of intuition is right here. So I'm going to just wrap this up and perhaps see, for instance, how many of the other gods have similar or the exact letters. For instance, like C, like the called God and the created God. There are two C's here. And we'll see how those things play out. The idea, I think, which is really crucial for us to acknowledge is when we break these down into bite sizes of information and log them in our memory or in our minds, because speaking of memory, the word remember is what I really want to encapsulate in all of these, because it is so crucial to all evolution or development or growth. And so let's see how the other gods show up. This is SSS, and I mean, I didn't think about whether this would come out. If it's not in Think and Grow Rich, it's perhaps the magic of thinking big or something, but it's the book I read many years ago, which I wish that I had read when it was first advised. Well, of course, that's everything in its own time. So the said gods, and just being curious to see how many letters we have here. So we have 4 letters here, and 3 here, and 3. So that's 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So 10, this is another thing that coincides right here, where Mother Eve, in her first word, here, it equals 10. So you will see that this is 3, 5, 2. 3, 5, 2, adding this together gives us 10. Of course, if we do the numerical value for the word 10, okay, for the word 10, let's leave it here, TEN, this is 255. Of course, this is 12. 5 plus 5, 10 plus 2, 12, and this gives us 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. So here we see that Mother Eve is really showing her magic, and this is why I call the letters, the 8 Latins of Genesis, where Mother Eve says, let there be light, which you may not see all of it here. Let there be light, let there be a firmament, let the waters from the heavens come forth, or let the earth bring forth grass, let the lights in the firmament bring light upon the earth, let the waters bring forth abundantly, let the earth bring forth living creatures, and let us make man in our image after our likeness. Now that's the one where Mother Eve is calling for our attention on the 8th, which is the 8th, which is here, with of 3-letter word that we need to set this program going. I use the word program. I think Mother Eve is really telling us this is what we need to do. Reprogram our minds now. Reprogram our way of doing things for us to get this ball. Of course, this is a ball. When we unwrap the 8, it becomes a circle, like in 10 here. This is what we see is right here. So basically, and in fact I have done this before, which I won't recall right now, that how the 0 has become in numerical value or calculation, how the 8 is a 0, but we can see that it is the magic of the symbol of infinity, because it just goes round and round. So basically it is like a rubber band that gets untwisted, or a cycle, it just laps over. This is the floppy or shapeless, we could say, although there is a shape to it, but of course we are talking about this right here. It's like the mouth. This is Mother Eve. This is why she's called the said God, and this is why she aids us, AIDS, not the AIDS that we were told about. This is Mother Eve, had her signature. She's really presenting her signature here. Her introduction is here, and she aids us. She has the ability, of course, the serpent goes from one end to the other, and she's here to aid us on this journey. Okay, so we see how 3 has played up, and hence why we see the number 3 as in the numerical value for set. Here is what we see how 3 has showed up. So 3 has showed up in this SSS. This is 1. In the said calculation here we have 2, and here we have 3 as in the number of letters. Well, in the number of letters we have 3 as well. So basically we have here the numerical value of the letter here is also 3, and we have the the single factor of the word number 10 here, which is also 3. So basically what we see here is that for the word set, which is where Mother Eve has called us to be, is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4. This is what we are called to do. 4 to be 8, the 8 petal flowers. This is set. We are ready to set this new dimension, this 5th dimension and this 8th dimension. So this is what we are talking about. Do join me again when I explore the other gods. Of course, I have just taken a new path in the initial intention for this, so we can have something juicy, hopefully, to remember that could really equip us to understanding the scriptures when it comes to comparing Mother Eve's lettings with the Beatitudes of Christ. This is what I really want to explore and, of course, give my take on it, or give Mother Eve's take on it. Of course, not to disassociate myself with the teachings of Mother Eve in this sense. It's really acknowledging that Mother Eve's words is being channeled through us. That's what Mother Eve does. Thank you. Let there be light, and there was light. Now, wasn't that delicious?